fellow heirs, and welcome back to Weekday Wind Down with the Word, where we are reading through the book of Numbers. And today we will be reading the 16th chapter of Numbers in the NLT version. This chapter includes Korah's rebellion. So without further delay, let's start reading. Korah's rebellion. One day, Korah, son of Ishar, a descendant of Kohath, son of Levi, conspired with Dathan and Abiram, the son of Eliab, and On, son of Peleth, from the tribe of Reuben. They excited a rebellion against Moses, along with 250 leaders of the community, all prominent members of the assembly. They united against Moses and Aaron and said, "You have gone too far." The whole community of Israel had been set apart by the Lord, and He is with all of us. What right do you have to act as though you are greater than the rest of the Lord's people? When Moses heard what they were saying, he fell face down to the ground. Then he said to Korah and his followers, "Tomorrow morning the Lord will show us who belongs to Him and who is holy. The Lord will allow only those whom He select to enter His own presence. Korah, you and all your followers must prepare your incense burners. Light fires in them tomorrow and burn incense before the Lord. Then we will see whom the Lord chooses as His Holy One. You Levites are the ones who have gone too far." Then the Lord spoke again to Korah. "Now listen, you Levites. Does it seem insignificant to you that the God of Israel had chosen you from among all the community of Israel to be near Him so you can serve in the Lord's temple and stand before the people to minister to them? Korah, He has given this special ministry to you and your fellow Levites. Are you now demanding a priesthood as well? The Lord is the one you and your followers are really revolting against. For who is Aaron that you are complaining about him?" Then Moses summoned Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, but they replied, "We refuse to come before you. Isn't it enough that you brought us out of Egypt, a land flowing with milk and honey, to kill us here in the wilderness, and that you now treat us like your subjects? What's more, you haven't brought us into another land flowing with milk and honey. You haven't given us a new homeland with fields and vineyards. Are you trying to fool these men? We will not come." Then Moses became very angry and said to the Lord, "Do not accept their grain offering. I have not taken so much as a donkey from them, and I have never hurt a single one of them." And Moses said to Korah, "You and all your followers must come here tomorrow and present yourself before the Lord. Aaron will also be here. You and each of your 250 followers must prepare an incense burner and put incense on it, so you can all present them before the Lord. Aaron will also bring his incense burner." So each of these men prepared an incense burner, lit the fire, and placed incense on it. Then they all stood at the entrance of the tabernacle with Moses and Aaron. Meanwhile, Korah had stirred up the entire community against Moses and Aaron, and they all gathered at the tabernacle entrance. Then the glorious presence of the Lord appeared to the whole community, and the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Get away from all these people so that I may instantly destroy them." But Moses and Aaron fell face down on the ground. "O God," they pleaded, "you are the God who giveth breath to all creatures. Must you be angry with all the people when only one man sins?" And the Lord said to Moses, "Then tell all the people to get away from the tent of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." So Moses got up and rushed over to the tents of Dathan and Abiram, followed by the elders of Israel. "Quick," he told the people, "get away from the tent of these wicked men, and don't touch anything that belongs to them. If you do, you will be destroyed for their sins." So all the people stood back from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Then Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the entrances of their tents, together with their wives and children and little ones. And Moses said, "This is how you will know that the Lord has sent me to do all these things that I have done, for I have not done them on my own. If these men die a natural death, or if nothing unusual happens, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord does something entirely new, and the ground opens its mouth and swallows them and all their belongings, and they go down alive into the grave, then you will know that these men have shown contempt for the Lord." He had hardly finished speaking these words when the ground suddenly split open beneath them. The earth opened its mouth and swallowed the men, along with their household and all their followers who were standing with them, and everything they owned. So they went down alive into the grave, along with all their belongings. The earth closed over them, and they all vanished from among the people of Israel. All the people around them fled when they heard their screams. "The earth will swallow us up too," they cried. Then fire blazed forth from the Lord and burned up 250 men who were offering incense. And the Lord said to Moses, "Tell Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, to pull all the incense burners from the fire, for they are holy. Also tell him to scatter the burning coals. Take the incense burners of these men who have sinned at the cost of their lives, and hammer the metal into a thin sheet to overlay the altar. Since these burners were used in the presence of the Lord, they have become holy. Let them serve as a warning to the people of Israel." So Eleazar the priest collected the 250 bronze incense burner that had been used by the men who died in the fire, and the bronze was hammered into a thin sheet to overlay the altar. This would warn the Israelites that no unauthorized person, no one who was not a descendant of Aaron, should ever enter the Lord's presence to burn incense. If anyone did, the same thing would happen to him as happened to Korah and his followers. So the Lord's instructions to Moses were carried out. But the very next morning, the whole community of Israel began muttering again against Moses and Aaron, saying, "You have killed the Lord's people." As the community gathered to protest against Moses and Aaron, they turned towards the tabernacle and saw that the cloud had covered it, and the glorious presence of the Lord appeared. Moses and Aaron came and stood in front of the tabernacle, and the Lord said to Moses, "Get away from all these people so that I can instantly destroy them." But Moses and Aaron fell face down on the ground. And Moses said to Aaron, "Quick, take an incense burner and place burning coals on it from the altar. Lay incense on it and carry it out among the people to purify them and make them right with the Lord. The Lord's anger is blazing against them. The plague has already begun." Aaron did as Moses told him and ran out among the people. The plague had already begun to strike down the people, but Aaron burned the incense and purified the people. He stood between the dead and the living, and the plague stopped. But 14,700 people died in that plague, in addition to those who had died in the affair involving Korah. Then, because the plague had stopped, Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the altar. That concludes the reading of Numbers 16 in the NLT version. Boy, this chapter is getting more interesting as we go along. And this particular chapter just brought up a few different thoughts. One of them, it reminds me of in the New Testament where I think it was Zephaniah and her husband, or Ananiah. I'm sure I got the names wrong, but anyway, they sold their property and they brought the proceeds to the church. And the guy, I can't remember if it was Peter or who it was, asked, "Was this all that you collected?" And they said yes, and they lied. And the Lord knew that they lied, and the Spirit of God had told the man that they lied. And had warned him that they were gonna lie. And when they lied and said yes, they dropped dead. So this reminds me of that particular story, that they were lying before the Lord. And in this case, these people were coming against the people of God. And they were following God's directions, which mean that they was going against God himself. And they was severely and quickly punished. And then I don't know where these other people that came the very next morning, I don't know where they were hiding. Things such as the internet, the TV was not present at that time. So maybe they didn't get wind of what happened to Korah and the two other guys and their families. Maybe they didn't get wind of that because they came the very next day. And I'm like, what is wrong with these people? Didn't they just see what happened to Korah now? But maybe they didn't, because the Lord, he put that plague on them. And if it hadn't been for Moses and Aaron, they would have all died. But another thing that came to mind is forgiveness. Because Moses and Aaron could have been like, okay, I'm just going to sit back and let the Lord do what he want to do. And they would have all been destroyed. But instead, Moses and Aaron fell face down before the Lord and pleaded with the Lord. In other words, they pleaded that he would forgive them. Forgive them, oh God. Forgive them. Make you think of Jesus on the cross. Forgive them, O Lord, for they know not what they do. And so God spared the people. So this was very interesting, as the last couple of chapters were interesting, and it just gets better and better. It's reading just like a soap opera now. It's getting gooder and gooder, what my old pastor used to say. And we know that's not proper English, but it just keeps getting better and better. So with that being said, I've gone well over 10 minutes, which I try to keep each video under. I'm going to end it right here. Please make sure you click the thumbs up button. I don't hardly get any thumbs up. I know you're listening to the word. If you just listen to the video, at least thumbs it up, because it's the word of God. Okay, and like and comment and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening to Weekday Wind Down with the Word, and have a blessed life in Jesus Christ. Bye.